you look at people who say they're voting for Donald Trump, 93% of them like Donald Trump, but like 7% of voters who say I'm voting for him really don't want to. But they feel like they have to because they feel like, well, I agree with him on policy. I'm not necessarily looking for someone that I like. And that's like well-trod territory, right? That he's got some voters who are going for him because they just think the alternative is worse. Kamala Harris's strategy has been so fascinating over the last 2 weeks. She's a blank slate to a lot of voters. They have no idea what she stands for.
Yes, I've not seen this before. Kamala had an interview after the debate on ABC. It was worse than you can imagine, but something recently happened. ABC moderator revealed fact-checking bias against Trump in debate. Linsey Davis revealed that her approach to fact-checking Trump during the debate was in response to CNN failure to do so in June.
If I'm voting for Trump, so what somebody's going to do about it?
I don't think anybody, I'm going to disagree with you.
So what? What are you going to do?
Well, it only took her 2 months, but Kamala Harris just completed her first ever solo sit-down interview, and it was an utter calamity. Watching the interview, I felt like I'd been slapped across the face. I am personally offended that a candidate for President of the United States, someone one heartbeat away from the presidency, can't form a coherent sentence about how she's going to make Americans' lives better. Now, the interview was not on a national station. It was on a local ABC affiliate in Philadelphia, and they dropped it on a Friday night when everybody was out. Dropping her first solo interview on a Friday night on a local station tells me they do not have much confidence in Kamala Harris. She basically just parroted her same talking points from the debate. Now, for this interview, at least she didn't have Mr. Jazz Hands Tim Walz sitting next to her chaperoning. At least the interview wasn't in a dark, dingy diner. She looked like she was being interrogated on an episode of Homeland. Now, you guys know I call it like I see it on both sides of the aisle, and Trump, he's had some clunker interviews before, but at least the guy is doing interviews almost every single day. Let me put things in perspective. Joe Biden dropped out of the race on July 21st. That was 54 days ago. It took Kamala Harris 54 days to do a sit-down, 10-minute interview on a local ABC affiliate in Philadelphia. Malarkey. Now, in the actual interview, Kamala Harris was given very easy layup questions like, how are you going to make life more affordable for the average American? Instead of just giving an answer, Kamala goes on a long, rambling diatribe about how she grew up a middle-class girl in a neighborhood where people were proud of their lawns. Kamala, just give us 1 or 2 specifics. How are you going to make our lives better?
Yes, before we proceed with this video, there is something I noticed during that interview. You can clearly see that what she did during that debate was scripted. Her response to questions was already here. She knew exactly what to say. The same question surfaced during interview she had here. She was responding like that. The same word. I was like, what? Though she could not go through, a lot of people saw it. Even talking about economy, she was still unable to give out a clear stand on her policies, and people are concerned with this.
The fact that Kamala Harris can't come up with one way she's going to make our lives better, she starts telling us how her lawn looked as a child. I don't care about your lawn. I don't care if the carpet matches the drapes. I don't give a rat's ass. Tell me how you're gonna make things more affordable. One thing I will say after watching the interview, if being president doesn't work out for Kamala Harris, maybe she can do advertisements for Xanax, because the way she was talking, my lawn was really well kempt as a... Now, you know the interview was really bad because Barack Obama just sent out a fundraising email on Kamala Harris's behalf. It says Kamala's campaign isn't funded by billionaires or special interests. It's powered by folks like you. Saying she's not funded by billionaires and special interests is like saying I'm a natural blonde. Malarkey! Now, Kamala's team, they're gonna say they prepped her. She was prepared for the interview. One thing I can tell you she absolutely did not do before the interview was take a breathalyzer. I genuinely want to know, is Kamala Harris that bad at answering basic questions, or was the interview sponsored by Tito's? The last thing I'll say is this. They're really trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear with Kamala Harris, but one thing I've realized, she just doesn't have the chops. She doesn't have it in her to be an all-star politician. All right, my friends, thanks for liking and following. Drop a comment. Tell me how you feel about everything going on right now. How do you feel about Kamala Harris's first solo sit-down interview?
This is why they have never allowed her to be open there for interviews, because of things like this. Just a day after the debate, which I believe she could perform better, but she is being criticized on social media like never before. What is going on? If you want to run for president, you should be able to do basic things like this. This is a second interview, and we are already approaching the elections. We have not seen this before. I'm glad that Trump will not be debating her again. We should just do this and get over it because it has reached a level. People are no longer interested. They are tired, talking about this. Just a short interview that is not even long. She messed up the whole thing. The Trump team had to take that and use all the video for art because it was just a mess up without even editing it. That is to tell you how terrible that was.
Hello, my name's Eli Beauchamp. I'm a registered Democrat, and I have been a registered Democrat all my life. By now you might have heard that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are running a joy campaign. Now, you know what would bring a lot of joy to my life? Lower prices at the gas pump, lower prices at the grocery store, affordable housing for my family, affordable housing for everyday Americans. But what did we get in return? A wide open border at our southern border. Millions of embedded illegal immigrants waltzing right into our country. On November 5th, I'm gonna cast my ballot with a lot of joy for Donald J. Trump. And yes, just like me, many other registered Democrats, independents, millions of Americans, we're going to be casting our ballot. But in my case, it's going to be motivated by anger. I'm angry that after my daughter got out of BPK, she only asked for one thing: to go to a water park. But I had to decide whether I would take my 5-year-old daughter to a water park or feed my family. I decided to feed my family. We haven't gone on any vacations.
Yes, I believe you have seen this man, not only him. There are a lot of people that have changed their minds based on what they have seen. They have done their research, and this is the result. Now he'll be casting his vote for Trump. He's angry. There is nothing you can convince this man. Even you put out 10 speeches, bring different kind of people to speak, he will not change his mind because he cannot take it. There are a lot of things. This video is very long. I decided to edit it short so you'll see exactly what is going on.
And you look at polls on X when they've done, I think Musk might have done one. I think there's a few of them. It's like 73% said they're voting for Trump.
Okay, yeah.
But you look on the polls that you see on television, Harris is ahead.
Yeah.
But like 3 points. But who the f are they polling? This is the problem.
Yeah.
Well, look, in 2016, it wasn't accurate at all,
Yeah.
right? Because Hillary Clinton was like 84% to win.
Kamala, she went for the handshake. Incredible display of the upward tension that happens when your son is dating a biracial girl and you meet her parents for the first time. That lack of accountability would be disqualifying. Excuse me for just 1 second.
Copyright reasons, I will not be able to play this video, or they are angry that Kamala was not supposed to greet him. I've seen videos these people are putting out, like, why would she do that?
This is why I say, we shouldn't demean Trump supporters. We shouldn't call them names.
Trump has come in the spin room, just so you know. That has happened.
Newly reported by NBC News, Vice President Kamala Harris has spoken recently and repeatedly with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
She could not do in 4 years. It is insane to think that...
You really want Trump to lose this election, right? No, you don't? No. Really?
So that debate was a bunch of BS.
Well, my friends, Kamala Harris deserves an Academy Award for gaslighting, deflecting.
Of course she didn't.
We still have to have a controlled border, a secure border.
If you are over 18, please register to vote for something else that's very important coming up.
Look at this.
She's only up by 15 points.
Caught Taylor Swift, as though I have that power. I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift.
Disconnected from the interest.
What comes to mind when you think of Donald Trump?